Hi everyone, my name is Lisa. I work for the Housing Services team, and today I am going to walk you through the room selection process for those of you who have time slots to self-select during general room selection next week. So I'm going to share my screen. So next week, whenever you're getting close to the start of your time slot, which runs Monday through either Wednesday or Thursday, depending on how many applicants we have, you're going to log back into the housing portal and just go back into your room selection application that you've already started. So academic year housing, and then clicking back into your academic year 23-24 application. The portal will automatically direct you to this room selection time slot page. This page is essentially a holding page for people who are waiting for their time slot to begin. So in this case, my time slot has already begun, so I am eligible to select now. A couple other things I want to mention about this page. If for whatever reason you need to make changes to your roommate group during time slots next week, you can use the link here to navigate back to your roommate groups page. You can see your current group, you can leave the group, you can start new groups, delete the group, whatever you need to do if you need to make changes, and you can do that live. So there will be situations where students may go in and start as a roommate group of 5, for example, and trying for a Roselon house. But if those are all filled and there are no other units available for groups of 5, then you can go back to that roommate groups page and sort of reconfigure your groups. So once your time slot has begun, you simply click the refresh button on this time slot page, and it's going to take you to the general room selection pages. Now, all of this text in the gray box is simply sort of reconfirming the units available to you for the 2 different options for room selection. So there's room selection for roommate groups, where you are required to fill the unit, and your roommate group size must match the unit size of your group. And then there's room selection for individuals or pairs. So when it's a smaller group, either by yourself or 1 or 2, you can use this option. So I'm going to actually show you both options, even though I'm only in a roommate group of 2. But it'll still give you a sense of how this works. So I'm going to start with the larger roommate groups option. Actually, and the other thing that I will mention, you see the extended selection option here right now. Just know that this option will not be visible during regular time slots the first few days of next week. We only open that up once extended selection has begun, and that's for individuals who did not select during their time slot, who want to wait and kind of take a chance for a higher occupancy unit, but not having the requirement to fill it at selection time. Okay, so I'm going to click on the larger roommate groups option just to start there. Now, again, I am only in a roommate group of 2, which means the portal is only going to show me options where a roommate group of 2 can be assigned through the high occupancy list, at least. So you're going to see here Fifth Neville Apartments, Highland Apartments, and there's actually also looks like a Roselon House unit available. We'll click on this one just to look at it. Usually this means when you see a bedroom available in an already started unit, it's typically an RA or CA unit where you are filling a room within a RA or CA house. And you can see that by clicking on room info and seeing that the room attribute is a RA/CA roommate, which means you will have a roommate in that space. So I am actually going to go back. There's a few ways you can navigate through these pages. You can go back the way I just did via the go back button on the bottom, or you can also use these filters on the left to sort of look at other buildings. So for example, like if I uncheck Highlands and check Fifth Neville, now I see all the Fifth Neville options. So it's a little bit simpler, but you'll see in some cases, right, if Margaret Morrison is only available to groups of 4, so I'm not going to get any options available to me here for Margaret Morrison because I don't have a roommate group that can fill a unit of 4. So since I don't have a lot of options on these pages, I'm going to go back and, oops, sorry, I'm going to go back to that main page. here, and I'm going to go back to the general room selection page so that I can change my room selection option for the individuals in smaller groups. People who are selecting by themselves and people who are in roommate groups of 2 are going to have the most luck using this option, because these are generally not multi-bedroom units, so you're not really sharing. Um, you're having a unit to yourself if you're a roommate group of 2, or if you're a roommate group of 1, you can either look for singles or start or fill a half-filled double room. So again, it's only going to show me options for my roommate group size. So here are the options I have here. I will note you're not seeing Fairfax apartments at the moment. That building is being renovated. It's going to be amazing, and there's a ton of space in Fairfax that will be available and showing as of Monday when time slots begin. So if you haven't considered Fairfax, make sure you're considering that as well. The navigation rules here are the same. When you start looking at a building, it will show you options that are available to you, and then you can either go back to that page like I showed you in the last option, or you can navigate here. So again, this is probably the easier way to do that. It'll also let you do things like navigate or search for singles and rooms, specific room types. So once you know where you want to live, I'm going to go ahead and select a unit in Fifth Neville, and I'm going to look for an apartment double, because an apartment double is a 1-bedroom double versus a studio double where everything is sort of in the same room. You can browse through all of the units. There's a lot of pages here, right? So if I know I want a higher floor in Fifth Neville, I might just go to a later page. And I think I'm just going to go with this one here, which is 513. So once you have your room chosen, you will click on select this room. And it kind of grays it out. So at this point, you still have the option to make a change, right? If I decided, oh, I actually want 512 instead, I can remove that room. I can switch to 512. 512 is what I want, so I'm going to go with that. The other thing I'll point out is that you will see that a countdown clock has started up in the corner here. So you can only have a hold on a room for 5 minutes. So you do need to complete the process within that 5-minute time period, or else the room will be released back to selection. So I do encourage you, once you have a room that you want, that you are just keeping an eye on that clock to make sure that you're navigating through all of the next few steps before the time runs out. So once you have your room selected, you're going to click Save and Continue here. Again, it's showing you that you have 5 minutes, but remember that clock started back on that last page. So this page is pretty simple. All you're doing is selecting, assigning you and your roommate group members to beds. So I'm only looking at 1 unit because there's only 2 of us, so I'm only assigning 2 people. But just so that you know, like in a 5-bedroom Roselawn house, or sorry, in a 5-occupant Roselawn house, you would be selecting the 3 rooms in the house that you are selecting, and then all of those options will be available here, and you'll decide who's going to be in the single and who will be in the 2 doubles within that house, and also who will be roommate pairs. So all of those conversations you want to have in advance so that you're not trying to figure out who's going to be living with who when you get to this point in the application. So since I'm just going to be in a double, I'm just going to assign myself bed 1 and assign my roommate to bed 2. In double bedrooms, those like -1, -2 markers, they just mean a line on the roster. So it doesn't indicate anything in terms of like which bed you have to sleep in or anything like that. But if you are selecting in a multi-bedroom unit, again, I'll just keep using Roselawn as the example, make sure you're assigning the person who's going to be in the single to the single, and then the double rooms are different. So you do have to keep an eye out for that when you are navigating through multi-bedroom apartments. So once you have yourself and your roommate group members assigned to a room, you're going to click Assign Beds. And then it's going to give you a review option. So at this point, you still can technically make a change. Again, this is still counting down, so you're not locked into anything yet. But at this point, once you proceed past this particular page, this is what's locking in your assignment. So at this point, you will be booked into these rooms, and your housing contract goes into effect. So just make sure this looks right. Again, if in those multi-bedroom options, make sure that the people are correctly assigned to the doubles and singles. If you have more than one bedroom, you can go back to make changes like I mentioned, if need be. So don't proceed past this page until you're definitely ready to lock these in. I am ready to lock these in, so I'm gonna click confirm. And this is assigning me to those spaces now. So the assignments are technically done, but this last page, all you have to do is click complete through here. So you're already booked, your housing contract has gone into effect. Clicking this complete application is simply marking your application and the applications of your roommate group members as complete, and then triggering your assignment emails to yourself and your roommate group members so that everybody knows where they've been assigned. So your roommate group members, if you have the best time slot, they don't have to go into the portal. You are doing everything on their behalf. So clicking this complete button just generates those emails, lets everybody know that, hey, you've been assigned to a room. Here's your room. It'll also tell you any roommates that you've been assigned with, and then you're done. You will know that you're done because you're going to land on this application status page. And it's going to say that your application status is complete. You'll also get an application status complete email as well as that assignment confirmation email. So you actually get 2 emails when you know that your application is complete. You might even hear my email is making noises now because I am receiving those emails as we speak. You can come back into this page at any time. So if you come back into your room selection application after you're assigned, or if any of your roommate group members come in, everyone will now be directed to this page because your applications are done. So it'll give you a summary just to show you your space, when you signed your contract, and then your room and who you are living with. So if you're an individual and you select by yourself, then it would just show you, and you can return back here at a later point to see like who else ended up selecting in that other space. If your roommate group members aren't sharing their profile information, their names won't show here. So just know that it just shows as occupied because the person who's in my roommate group unchecked the box to share their profile information. So that's why it says occupied versus showing their name. Most students leave that profile information visible. So in that case, you're going to see your roommate group members' names there, or your new roommates' names if you didn't select with a roommate and people were assigned there later. A couple things I want to add. You will see the reminder on this page about renter's insurance. It is something that we strongly encourage all residents to sign up for. It's not a requirement. However, if your personal belongings are damaged at any point during the academic year due to any sort of, like floods, sprinkler incidents, water, whatever, fire, whatever that may be, even theft, your personal belongings aren't covered by Carnegie Mellon University. So students are responsible for covering their personal belongings if they want, through their own personal property insurance policy. So this is pretty affordable. Definitely recommend it if it's something that you're interested in. At this point, your general room selection participation is complete. There's nothing else that you need to do. You are assigned to a room for next year, and we really look forward to welcoming you back to campus housing in August of next year. Thank you. See ya.